Engagement, a content creator's favorite thing. If it's a like on Twitter, a heart on Instagram, or a like on a YouTube post. All of those interactions let content creators know they're doing well. This also applies to blog posts. When you use something like Dev.to or Hashnode or Medium, people can interact with your content and let you know that it's good. However, when you roll your own blog, you don't really have that opportunity out of the box. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can create your own interactions on your blog. By the end of the video, you're going to be able to see two different ways to do this. One is a very basic interaction where someone can just click a button and that will like your blog posts. And the second one is a completely custom version. So if you're ready to learn how to add interactions to your own blog, let's get started. So to begin with, we need a blog. So let's use the Create Next Apps blog starter to do this. So we can do npx create next app -- example blog starter and then blog with engagement. And once that's installed, we'll open up Visual Studio Code and take it from there. So here we are in the blog starter. We have this post slugs, which contains all of our posts. And this is what it looks like beforehand, so we can have an understanding of how it all kind of works and fits together. So here's the blog, and inside it just has a few posts. And when you select them, you get this blog that has the descriptions down here and then all of the content with a picture. At the bottom of our post here, we're going to add the ability to essentially applaud our content writer for doing such a good job. So now we understand what we're going to do. We're going to add in the ability to essentially applaud, clap, upvote, whatever you would want to call it, to our posts. So the first thing we need to do is install the Likeit React project. So we can do yarn add at Likeit React. And once that's installed, we can actually start creating and adding our buttons. So now we've installed this, we need to wrap our app.js in a provider so that we can tell it that anywhere on our application we could technically use this. So the best way to do this is to import, and we're going to import provider, but I'm going to give it a name, so as, and then we're going to give it Likeit provider, and that's going to come from at Likeit /React. And then we can wrap our whole application in that provider. So we do Likeit provider. And then once we have that, we can take this part and do that. So we do need to sign up for a Likeit provider account. So let's go and do that. And then we can get our API key that we need to pass in here. So here we are on the Likeit website. We just need to click register. And then we need to give the information here. So I'll just do James Perkins, no company. And then the allowed website for now could just be localhost 3000. And we love Next.js and sign up to Likeit. Now we just need to go to our inbox and click on the magic link. So go ahead and do that. So after you've clicked on the magic link, you'll drop in here. And what you can see is your information, whether or not you have reCAPTCHA enabled, the maximum number of sessions per IP, and then what to do now. So we're going to grab this public API IP from here, click the copy button, go back to our code, and we're going to put that right in here as our API key. So we can just do API key equals and this string. So now we have the API key installed, we can actually just use this buttons wherever we want. So if we go to this slug.js, which is under the posts, we can actually just add this button in right here. So what we can do is say, I would like to have a button. So we'll do like button here. So like button. And then we need to import that at the top. So we can just do import like button from at Likeit /React. And then down below, we just need to give it the ID and the namespace. So the ID, in theory, should be the blog post's URL, because we want this slug to identify posts that someone's engaging with, because when you go into like it, you can see in the dashboard what people are engaging with. So we can do post.slug. So post.slug. And then namespace is just the space that you want to give it a name for. So for this, we could just call it blog posts. And that's it. So in theory now, if we launch our application, we should have the ability to engage with this posts. So let's go to yarn dev and try it out. So I've launched the application, and down here you can now see we have this little like button with a 0 counter. If we click it, it changes to 1, and we have like a circle around it. If I click it again, the upvote goes away to stop people voting multiple times. So at that point, we could, put some text around it that says, did you like this? Click this button and move it to the center of our screen. So that's a default implementation. But what if we want to do a fully custom version where we extend what they've provided to do something really cool? So let's work on that instead. So we're back in our code, and now we're ready to create our own custom like button that's going to have an upvote and a downvote button so we know what people like. So we're going to create a new component called likeCounter.js, and inside of here is where we're going to do our work. So we're going to import a different version of the button called UpDownButton. And that basically gives you the ability to have an upvote and a downvote. I'm going to say from @LikeIt/React. And then we're going to do export const likeCounter equals a function. And then we can do our return statement here. So the reason I picked this as a starter is that it has Tailwind, so we can use Tailwind to do some styling, and then we don't have to worry about implementing regular CSS. So we're going to create a div to wrap the whole thing, and we'll give it a class name of max width of 2XL and MX equals auto, so that everything should be centered. Then we can have an H4. And this is going to be our H4 to essentially say, hey, what did you think? So we'll make the text large, make the text bold, and text will be in the center. And we'll say, did you like this post? So now we have a heading. Let's hit save, and we can put this like counter in our slug here instead. So we'll just make a like counter, and we'll import that instead. So import like counter from // components / like counter. And let's split these screens up so that we can see as we develop our app. So now we can see we have this, did you like this post? Which doesn't really help us, except from at least we've got some sort of standout part that we can now use. So underneath our text in the center, we're going to use this up-down button. So we're going to do up-down button. We'll give it an ID. So ID equal to post vote. And we'll give it a namespace. This time we'll give the namespace blog posts. And then one feature that we want is we want to hide the counter if it's less than 1. So if nobody has upvoted on this, we don't want it to show as 0 likes. We'd like somebody to engage with it and then it show 1 as the counter. So we can do hide counter if less than equal to 1. And then inside of here is where we're going to do all of our work. So you can see right now that we have these little upvotes or downvotes, and each one of those is clicked and something happens, which is great. But I want to make it even better. I want to use some emojis instead of these buttons. And I also want to do some sort of custom scoring and things like that. To override that, we can actually pass in some props and then handle it from there. So you're going to open up a set of parentheses, and then inside of here, we can do our work. So we need to engage with handle press up. And all of these props are from the liked product. So we need handle press up, handle press down, total score, user vote direction, is counter visible, and is loading. So this is counter visible here is actually being used by this. So if you are hiding the counter as less than 1, it's going to check to see if that's true or false and then show the counter as we need it. Then what we need to do is then actually do some returning. So inside of here, we can now return some more content. So what I'm going to do here is create a div that's going to wrap all of our work here together. And that's going to have a max width of 2XL. It's going to have MX Auto, Flex, and Justify in the center. Then we're going to have a button. And this button is going to be our upvote. So we can give it a class name. And we're going to make it a bit bigger. So the way that these emojis are handled are by the font size. So we can say text is 2XL. And then on click, we're going to do handle press up. And then disabled equals is loading. And then inside of there, we can pass it in an emoji. And so for this one, I'm going to pass in the green check mark. So hit save now. Now we have the green check mark that we can click, but we don't actually know what's happening. We don't know if we click this, we don't know if we're upvoting or not. Then we can take this button and copy and paste it down here, because the next button is going to be the handle press down. So handle press down. And instead of being a checkbox, we'll make it a green X. And now we have an upvote and a downvote. And then we need some sort of total. We need to know how many votes there are, right? So now we can use this is counter visible to create that. So underneath our button and underneath this div, we can make another div and say div class name equals text in the center. And we'll say total likes and then total score. And hit save. And so total likes 1. And if we hit this, it's -1 or 0, depending on the voting schema. So because only this user can only upvote once, when we click this, it actually takes 1 away. And when we click this, it's positive. If we click it again, it resets it back to you haven't voted at all. But problem here is that this count is showing when there are 0 likes. But we only want to show it if there's a positive amount of votes. So we only want to show it if it's positive. So we can wrap this one more time here. Take this and say, is counter visible? And then we can return this. So we'll just wrap this in a set of parentheses, hit save. And now it's gone away. And if we upvote, total likes is 1. If we downvote, it disappears again because we're in the negative. So there you have it. 2 ways to add likes to your block. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to comment down below things you want to learn about the Jamstack and web development. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I release weekly videos. Until next time, see ya.